How have you been since your last fight? How's everything going?
That's going well, man. I'm blessed. Working, staying active for sure. Um, I'm looking forward to fighting. It's like I'm looking forward to doing what I love. And the family's well, team's well. I'm doing well, so it's like I'm just focused on my life, and my faith, and all the work that I'm doing, different projects going on. So, I'm well.
hmm Yeah, no, it's definitely an itch that you can't seem to get rid of until you actually step in the cage. And every day it's like, all right, I'm one day closer. And the fans as well, this is a big fight, and there's been a lot of talk against you going up against Martin Hamlet, and just like the implications of the fight, the overall like effect it's going to have. Obviously, going for a final spot, this is as big as it gets. So how are you feeling like mentally, physically, just going into that in the last 2 weeks?
Man, I'm at peace. I love what I get to do. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to claim this victory. I really respect Martin. I just not strictly as a fighter. Of course, as a fighter, that's a given to me. This man, and I met him, talked to him a couple times before we were ever going to fight. I know there's history between he and my team that he trained with the Black Zillions at a point before I became Kill Cliff. So it's like it's cool. It's cool like that. I get to fight somebody at that caliber, and that's what I want. The guys who are coming to fight, who have a skill set, and it shows I'm going on the right path. But man, I'm at peace. I'm focused. I'm dialed. I'm ready. And I'm prepared. It's like we've been putting the work in, and it's cool that it's starting to show.
Yeah. And for someone who's going into such a big high stakes fight, you seem more relaxed than I honestly would have predicted. And I'm still kind of adjusting to it. It's crazy that you're able to just again find that peace, just something not many fighters are able to do. So I guess my question would be, how do you do that? Like you go into the cage, you're one of the more aggressive fighters. You like to be in people's faces. And
Yeah.
then on the outside of the cage, you're a picture of just like peace and calmness. Where how does that balance happen?
Well, I appreciate that. For me, it's my faith, man. Like, I love God. I'm a Christian. I said I don't try to press it on people where they feel like they're under a thumb, but more just like open my hands, like let them know they're unconditionally loved. That's my main thing. Like, I love fighting. MMA is my career. It's my job. I don't think it's strictly a sport. I believe it's deeper than being a sport. I think there's sportsmanship to it.
Mhm.
Um, I love people, man. I love where God's called me to be, and it's I always respect it because like whether you like me or not, we can fight for sure. That calling to be in this, I say MMA is my ministry, so it's like man, wherever I go, I want to show love. And then when I go in a fight too, it's like I don't say the fight defines me itself. I don't say that like the belt defines me or the money does. Like that comes with it, right? You go do your job, you go get your two checks, you go do your job, you go move on forward to the final, you do your job, I just say, oh, I got to do my job, I go get that title. And that gives me
Mhm.
peace, man. It allows me to see things differently in a cage. Like when I'm in the cage, like, okay, cool. Like, God, this is your ground. I always pray. Like, I always focus on that. Like, listen to my worship music. I listen to my salsa. I listen to my old school rap. I find that flow that keeps me like just like enjoying the moment. Like, enjoying this the same way we're enjoying this interview, right? I'm meant to
Yeah,
be there
yeah.
for a reason. So I'm gonna go capitalize on that. And that's where I focus on. Like I know where my identity is and who my identity is in, like in Christ. And that gives me a different kind of peace because it's like this is really cool. And I don't even know who the guy was, like flipping through Instagram reels. I was like, you know, you can become a world champion, which I'll be this year, and many more, right? And all these different things.
Mhm.
And then we fight to get the gold. And then you go to heaven, you're walking on gold. The streets are made of gold. So like how valuable is it really? Like on earth we make it this big, big thing. But when you get to heaven, it's like, you know what? Like that's what we walk on. And in my
Yeah,
mind, it's
yeah.
like this. In my mind, it's like if that's what that is, like of course you want to be a champion on earth. Of course you want this. I'm gonna work as hard as I possibly can. I'm gonna do everything with excellence. I'm gonna love people. I'm gonna train, make mistakes in life too. You do all these different things. At the same time, man, like when I get a fight, I'm free. So it's like let's throw down. And then it's like it's focusing on the fight because I focus on beating my opponent up and I do it. And everything else comes with it. So like why stress past that? Because it all handle itself. And that's how I look at
Mhm.
it, man. So that's where my peace comes from.
A lot more profound than I was prepared for today, but you got to have these kind of conversations. It's you got to be able to disconnect from again fighting, separate your fighting from the rest of your life, and they're integrated to some extent, right? You can't
Yeah,
completely disconnect them, but you got to know like what's place is where and when you got to be
yeah.
that person for the situation. So would you
Mhm.
say, I mean, to me, it sounds like fighting and faith have kind of complemented each other or like reinforced each other for you, that one kind of gives you more insight into the other, and
Yeah.
fighting makes you a better Christian, being a better Christian makes you a better fighter. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely challenges me. Like, tell about your coaches, right? Like maybe they're not all believers, maybe they are. Like the coaches that aren't, but they always challenge me to be better. Like they
Mm-hmm.
demand it of me. There's not even like, oh, you could have a really good day, a great day. It's like if you had a really good day, it wasn't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a great day, it wasn't great enough, but still be happy with where you are and content in your life. And then same thing with my faith, like it challenges me better. Like, and I don't speak on faith saying like I'm this perfect Christian, because I'm definitely not. Like I've made some mistakes in my life and done some stupid things, some things that were so sinful and unholy. Like I shouldn't even be alive, right? But I look at it like that's where grace comes in. And like you've had moments in fights, right? So like it makes you think like, and even people always fighters always focus like I've done everything right. It's like no, like do everything with faith, man. Like you never know what somebody's going through, whether these like fighters like on drugs or fighters, you know, some people sell their body just like get money. Like you don't know what somebody's going through and why they're lost. So it's not to like pass judgment on them, right? You don't know why somebody doesn't believe in God because I understand why some people choose not to. Like if you listen to their stories and
Mm-hmm.
the pain they have. So I don't say it from like a perspective of like this perfect Christian because I'm furthest thing from it. But it's like I've just seen
Yeah.
like the that goodness in my life, and it's like when you have great coaches or great teammates and people that challenge you to be better. It's not that it always feels good. Right? When you're getting taken down or punched in the face by somebody who's really good, or getting kicked in the head and like, or been knocked out in front of the whole world. But those trials and those challenges like build a perseverance and endurance in you that allows you to
Mm-hmm.
be free when the moment comes. And that's where like they both kind of complement each other and help me become better in each. Right. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
you can find those parallels for sure. And you start thinking like, man, like life is life is good when I focus on him and focus on what's better. Because it's like some people like think about like, they don't really want to wake up at 5 a.m. They don't really want to drive an hour. But it's like sometimes doing like the faith driven thing isn't the fun thing. It probably is fun going out, getting drunk, partying. Like that seems like the fun stuff. It looks entertaining. I would never drink to get drunk or anything like that. But I just think like, man, like look at that. Like, dude, I live in South Florida. You fight in Vegas all the time. You got club space. You have the strip clubs. All the stuff that seems fun. Like people act like, oh, swimming's not fun. Of course it is, bro. Like acting like a fool is fun, but it leads to nothing, right? And that same thing with
Sometimes you got
training.
to go through it and experience how not fun it is to be like, all right, yeah, this shit sucks.
Yeah, right. 100%. You're like, what? This is terrible. Like, think about it. Somebody's drunk, they forget their keys, they lose their keys, this, that, and third.
Mm,
They bought their friends, they got arrested. You're just like, you know what? Or their relationships are suffering. But the
mm,
same parallel is in your faith. Like when you just stray away from Christ, when you stray away from like your training, right? And then you don't fight as well or have a great training session, like it really eats at you. But if you just start doing things in the right direction, doesn't mean you don't enjoy your life. It doesn't mean you don't have a good community of people. Like you start to learn that. And it's just like, man, why not just live on the path with excellence the best that you can and understand there's grace for mistakes? But it's not like you don't want to just kind of live in a life that seems fun and it's like deteriorates you. So like it's deteriorating to the spirit, to the heart, to the body too, and
mm-hmm.
to the mind, and then kind of wondering how to dig out that ditch. So it's just like one of those things that
Right.
kind of they do definitely complement one another, and then that's a pretty cool way to look at it.
So a couple more questions. I'm gonna have to rewatch that and unpack it like phrase by phrase. But a lot of things that I've thought about myself, which is why I was like very inclined to continue that conversation. And it's honestly very refreshing to hear someone speak about it so candidly, because then you're able to kind of make sense of like, there's other people who are going through the same thing or understanding the same issue, and it kind of gives you that strength. Like, in there's strength in numbers, you find unity and solidarity and so on, and you're like, all right, well, maybe I can do this, maybe I can take the next step and go
Mm-hmm.
further than I thought I could. It's honestly a very freeing feeling.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. Yeah, appreciate that for real.
So just a couple more quick questions so I don't keep you too long. um I wanted to get your final thoughts on just like light heavyweight landscape right now. You spoke a little bit about Martin Hamlet. You got Ty
Yeah,
Flores and Josh Silveira. Big fights. Who do you want to face in that final match?
I want to face the better fighter. It's gonna be a title fight. I respect Josh. I met Josh in a fight going to Abu Dhabi when I
Hmm.
fought Buckley. It was in the UFC. So like I really have respect for him, and I see that he's been doing well. So
Hmm.
I want to fight him as far as so long as he does well and he shows he's a better fighter than and I believe he is. Ty's a dog. I like that he kind of grinds it out, and there's something to be said about somebody who does that, who's not conventional. So he's a solid fighter too, respectful. Like he trained with a guy named Anthony Adams that I fought second time in the Contender Series. So I know he comes from a solid gym. Uh, or the better fighter there is that night and the better fighter overall, like that's the guy I want to fight because when you earn that title shot, that's there's credit to it, right? Like
Yeah.
there's nothing to be like nothing to be gaining playing small. And I always say though, like one fight at a time. Martin Hamlet is nobody to look over. Martin Hamlet's
Mm-hmm.
nobody to disrespect. Solid background, comes to fight, has different weapons that he likes to use. So I'm looking forward to that, and
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to dominating that fight, claiming that victory, and just giving God the glory and like respecting him because man, he's like I said, he's a solid guy, and it's an honor to fight him. So or
Mm-hmm.
have this bout. So for me, it's like yeah, for sure. I mean, I would love to fight Silvera. I think that he comes from a great gym. There's history there. He's the son of a great, a guy who's like, kind of helped build the landscape of MMA, and he's impacted
Mm-hmm.
many people. So, and so there's always that um, extra feather in your cap kind of thing when you fight people like that, and I look forward to it for sure.